Okay, so what we're going to do for a little while at least. Now we're back on schedule for every other week or every 2 weeks. So there's a lot of things going on right now in the world. I may actually start squeezing videos back in every other week, but we'll definitely be on the every 2 week schedule. Okay. So let's talk about Hillary for a second before we actually get into tonight's topic. Right now, it's a sore subject for everybody that I know anyway, is the election. All right. I got people over here hollering, Hillary, Hillary, Hillary. People over here hollering Trump, Trump, Trump. And then I got people over here hollering anybody but Hillary, anybody but Trump. What I don't understand is even the lifelong Democrats, right? How could you, with all good conscience, still think that Hillary would be the best choice for president of the United States? And I know I've heard the arguments. Well, what's our only option? Donald Trump. I'm not voting for Donald Trump. Well, then don't vote for Donald Trump. Shit, there's other options out there. Okay. The best option I think of is Gary Johnson, but who's a libertarian, by the way. And if you're not familiar with that party, I suggest looking it up. But honestly and seriously, with all the shit that is surrounding Hillary Clinton and the Clinton family, and has been for years, how anybody with any conscience can vote for that woman is beyond me. But if you've done your research like I told you to do, and you've educated yourself, and you still think that Hillary is your best option, then by all means, go right ahead. Vote your conscience. That's all I can say about that. I do hope that everybody has finally come to the understanding that the only wasted vote is the vote not cast. Okay? Let me say it again. The only wasted vote is the vote not cast. Okay? I've heard a lot of arguments with, I'm not wasting my vote for anybody that's not in our two-party system, be it Democrat or Republican. And it's not wasting your vote. It's not voting the lesser of two evils. It's making a conscious decision that we as Americans, we the people, deserve better than what we've been offered from the Democrats and from the Republicans. Okay? Just that simple. So since I'm talking about Hillary to start with, and the reason I'm talking about Hillary to start with is because I sincerely and believe that she is going to find a way into winning this election and becoming the next president of the United States. And as much as I find it painful to say those words, I mean painful, my tongue wants to fly out of my mouth into an open fire for saying those words. But with that outcome possible, I think it's time to discuss martial law. Now, what we're going to discuss tonight is what's called surviving martial law. Okay. Now, some of you are currently members of the police department. No coffee tonight, tea. Some of you are former members of the police department. Some of you are former military. Some of you are military. And some of you are civilians. So you may or may not have experienced martial law because of those positions in some shape or form. And maybe you understand it, don't agree with it, maybe you don't understand it. So we're going to start from the basics. Okay? What is martial law? Basically, martial law is the imposition of government rule. Okay? Well, Steve, aren't we under government rule? No. This is a nation of freedoms. Okay? And with freedoms, we have freedom of choice and again, freedom of election. During martial law, those freedoms are gone, basically, and the government takes or assumes full control, all decision making, right? Along with other things, and we're going to discuss that in a minute. So it's the imposition of government rule. And basically that just means that the government, in some way, shape, or form, takes over. Okay. When is martial law declared? Well, there's several times that the government can declare martial law. Now, when I'm using the term government in this particular context, I'm talking about local, county, state, or federal, depending on how aggressive they need to be. Okay? So, when is martial law placed on the American citizens? That would be in times of uncontrollable riots and or protest. Okay? So, a protest is one thing, small. A riot is another thing completely and can still be small. Uncontrollable is when things get out of hand, right? The government currently in place can't control the size and or direction of the riots or the protests. Martial law is declared. Now, something along that lines is generally reserved for local and or county governments, right? Okay. Natural disasters that are too severe for your local government. A good example of that would be Hurricanes Katrina or and Hurricane Sandy, which is in recent history. And when those things happened, they declared martial law. It began with the local government and then had to escalate into a federal martial law because the area that was surrounded by that disaster. And there was no time to consult from city to city, county to county, parish to parish, in the case of Louisiana, to have the ability to handle all of the needs of the community. Okay? Times of war. Now, anytime a war is declared, each country involved has to handle their business a different way. Luckily for us here in the United States, we've not had a war on our soil since the Civil War. So even during the World War I, World War II, well, we didn't have to deal with martial law. We had to deal with food rationing. And in some areas, went under a voluntary type martial law, where lights out at dark and things of that nature. But there was no actual martial law declared here. Of course, in Europe, it was a different story. They had to live under martial law for several years. And then finally, it brings us to insurrection and rebellion. Okay, and that's exactly what it sounds like. All right. And I've got a great many acquaintances and friends who believe that the only way to handle our government right now is an act of rebellion. The same that our founding fathers did with the British, right? An open and aggressive act of rebellion. Well, I don't think that's the case, but they're again each their own. But if that was to happen, of course, the government would declare martial law. All right. Now, some of the things that happen during martial law: you lose the right of information, which means all media sources are government controlled and censored. The right of habeas corpus, right? Google it. That gives you the right of an attorney, gives you a right to a speedy trial, gives you the right to face your accusers. Habeas corpus, look it up. That's gone during martial law. The government's in charge. They can arrest you, fine you, convict you, all without a trial. The right of privacy. Now, this one gets pretty important, especially in today's technology. During martial law, the government can open and read your mail. They can also open and read your emails. They can confiscate any and all phone messages, voicemails, and text messages. Okay? The right to make a choice. Wait a minute. What do you mean right to make a choice? Well, I choose to go on vacation. Martial law says you can't. Okay? Any extra travel outside of work and between the time periods that martial law is in effect is gone. You just can't wake up early in the morning and decide, I'm going to go to Waffle House for breakfast. The government said no. And then finally, freedom of speech, freedom of expression. You can't band together and go to City Hall and have a demonstration. No. You can't write nasty letters about the government, about what they're doing at that point. No. All that's gone. And again, get to the point where your Second Amendment can be taken away from you. Your Second Amendment rights, the rights to own and bear arms. They can be confiscated at any point in time during martial law. So, now that we've learned about martial law, what does that mean for me? Well, it's very simple. What do you need to do, now that you know what martial law is, to defend yourself during martial law? Okay? Well, one thing will be become self-reliant, which you need to be doing right now. Don't wait. Okay? Food, power, water, all that will be controlled by the government during martial law. They'll control who gets food, how much food to get, who gets power, how much power to get, who gets water, and how much water to get. Okay? So if you're growing your own food, storing your own water, generating your own power, then you're one step ahead of everybody else. Stay safe. Okay? Respect the curfew placed on you during martial law. And keep a low profile. Okay? Don't be out in public talking about what you're doing, what you're going to do. Don't be out after curfew, things like that. Have a bug out bag ready. Now, I know some of y'all remember back when we played our game a few months ago. And I had several responses. We're not bugging out. I don't have to bug out. I'm probably safe where I'm at. Well, that may not be the case. So you have a bug out bag ready. At least 3 or 4 days worth of supplies in a bag ready to go in case things get sideways during martial law. Tune in and listen. All right? Since all the news broadcasts are going to be handled and censored by the government, you need to be listening to them. So you have an idea what's going on, when curfews are in place, what areas and zones may be off limits, so that you don't violate any of these laws and or rules. Okay? Stay in shape and learn and improve your skills. All right? So staying in shape. I know I already hear some of you going right now. I'm in shape, Steve. Round the shape. Ha, 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 ha. No, that ain't funny. This is not a joke. Okay? we as Americans are a bunch of fat bastards anyway. We need to get up off our collective asses and start exercising on a daily basis and become better people by healthier living. Okay. So if something was to happen and you've got to be outside working, you've got to be on the walk, you've got to be on the run, and you can't walk from here to your fucking mailbox without wheezing, well, now it's time before that situation occurs to do something about it. Get in shape, learn to improve your skills. Okay, that's gardening, using hand tools. Okay, things of that nature. Learning how to make homemade medicines, learn how to can food, how to dehydrate food, etc. Okay, you should never be alone. All right. There again, if somebody said, "Well, I'm perfectly fine with myself. I can make it on my own. I can do my own thing. Can't nobody stop." Bullshit. You're not gonna make it alone. Okay. You need support, and you need to make alliances with people now, like-minded people, now. So you'll have those in place if something was to go to the bad. Okay. Keep your mouth shut during the damn martial law. Okay. Don't talk about your supplies at home. Don't talk about what you prep to get ahead of time. Don't talk about your weapons at home. Okay? All right. The thing about that is somebody's going to get jealous, try to come after your stuff, or plain and simply turn you in for points with the government. So don't talk about your shit to nobody you can't trust. And during martial law, don't talk about it at all. It doesn't exist. Leave it alone. Be calm and don't panic. Okay? A lot of people are going to panic, freak out, stress out, and panic. And those people are going to end up in jail or dead. Stay calm. Don't panic. Watch what's going on around you. Learn your situation, and you'll get through it. Plan your storage for a home invasion. Okay? Now, when I say that, that's not talking about the dickhead down the street who thinks you got a couple extra cans of beanie weenies. No. I'm talking about the government troops who decide to come into your home to search for weapons and search for contraband and search for food. They're going to confiscate your weapons. They're going to confiscate your contraband. They're going to confiscate your damn food. So, have things well hidden. Okay? But have a small supply, somewhere that's not so well hidden. In your linen closet, under your bed. The troops that come in looking for stuff, they're going to stop after they find something. So if they find 5% of your food storage and a small caliber handgun and some ammunition, they go, "Hey, we got it. We're gone. We're going to the next house." They're not going to keep looking. So plan your home for a home invasion, and there you go. All right, so there's your steps for survival martial law. It sounds pretty simple, but if we were in a natural disaster area, natural disaster situation, watch the news and see if people panic and freak out. Okay, so follow those steps, write those steps down, and you'll be able to survive a martial law situation, which we potentially may see when Queen Hillary becomes president. All right, so last thing. If you need to email me, I've got an email set up specifically for this group. It's Uncle Steve 1776 at gmail.com. Uncle Steve 1776 at gmail.com. It's all one word. Uncle Steve 1776. All right, so Uncle Steve 1776 at gmail.com. You can email me any comments, any questions. You can email me any topics you think we need to cover on these videos. Okay. I already had a couple of people tell me they want to see the bag thing again, an improved bag thing, or a continuation of the bag, a bug out bag, even that kind of thing. All right, so we may do that in the next few weeks. Where the we're planning on doing a canning show to show you the proper way to can some things. So if any of you are interested in learning how to can and preserve your food, we're going to be doing that soon. Okay? So, like I said, there's a lot of things going on. I may try to sneak a video in here, about once a week, but we'll be definitely doing them every other week. So stay tuned. And like I said, if you need to reach me, if you got any ideas or questions or anything, Uncle Steve 1776 at gmail.com. Okay? All right, good night, everybody. Uncle Steve loves you, wants to be safe and happy.